How are you defined? The bio, the intro, your elevator speech, your pitch deck, the line underneath your name on a business card, how your parents describe you to their friends, what your girlfriend or your wife or your husband says about you to strangers, what you tell yourself when it's dark and everyone is sleeping except for you, the dash on your gravestone. Yes, all this may sound heavy, but when you dedicate your life to something, whatever that may be, this is what's at stake, your definition. For a few select individuals, very unique creatures on this big, bold earth, how they are defined to themselves and to their peers, to their friends, to their enemies, comes down to what happens on 5 days in a year. More specifically, what they do or don't do on those days, on 5 Sundays. Previously on 5 Sundays, Edmonton Impact stormed into Las Vegas on a mission to prove that they were still the best team in the game. They came out with a win, but with 4 more events in the NXL season, it's a long road to the series title. Texas is the new mecca of paintball, and to anyone who knows the gunfighting pedigree and history of this great state, that should come as no surprise. Since early in the sport, there have always been big tournaments in Texas. The second event of the 2019 NXL season brought us to the Texas Motor Speedway again. The weather in Texas doesn't always like to cooperate, and over the years this event has become known as the Mud Bowl. In 2016, Infamous won. For the past 2 years, the Texas Open has been all about Houston Heat. Heat got off to a rocky start at the event that they had won 2 years in a row. In the prelims, they barely beat Seattle Thunder in their first game, but then came back and mercy ruled the Outlaws. They got a gift in overtime against Green Bay Boom. It looked like they were going to lose the game, but a swing point major penalty during a 1-on-5 under 60 seconds gave Heat a crucial victory.
Bad news for Boom. The point goes to Heat. What do you think about that?
Out of here. I mean, they played a hell of a game. Props to Boom. I mean, really and truly what it comes down to is that rules and play for that same reason, and they fell on the bad side of it. We got to play better. Boom's looking good. Great match. In my books, that's a win for them, so I hope my guys learn.
After losing to Dynasty by 3, they were forced to fight out of the wild card round. Fate would have it that the two teams who have controlled the wins at this event for the past 3 years would battle in the wild card round to see who would move on. Infamous lost both their games on Friday to Impact and X Factor, but they came back with big wins on Saturday against the ML Kings and PC Katana to sneak into Sunday.
Infamous as a team is a really good team on paper. I think when they get to Sunday, I think it just comes down to those small mistakes, just kind of beating themselves. I think they try to they put themselves in a good position to win, but I don't think when it comes down to adapting, they're doing it fast enough or doing it the right way. I think they have the right pieces. I think they could use a couple more consistent players. I think on Sunday, playing those same guys over and over again, I think you can depict what they're going to do. You know kind of what they're looking to game plan on you.
At the start of the wild card round, Infamous couldn't catch a break. The first point was even on the body count 4-on-4 until Nico Hyde and Ryan Moorhead got a few kills, and Heat put up the first one. Infamous looked to tie in the next point, shooting Konstantin Fedorov off the break and San Monville early. It was a 3-on-5 in favor of Infamous, and Heat had their bodies trapped in the center. But Thomas Taylor, Drew Templeton, and Ryan Rodarte lost gunfights, and it cost them the point when Ryan Moorhead and Chad George finished off the last bodies. It was a 5-on-5 break in the next point, and Houston Heat pushed Chad George in the Snake and Nico Hyde up into D4. Nico got up the field and destroyed Infamous's line. It was 3-0 Heat. They put up a 4th point on the board in the next one by decimating Infamous off the break. Infamous was able to put up a few points, but Houston Heat put on a masterful performance across the field to move on into the quarterfinals, 6-2. The rebuilding Los Angeles Ironmen looked sharp in their first 3 prelim matches, beating Revo, Aftermath, and New York Extreme. But they dropped their last preliminary game to DMG. Even though they went 3-1, they ended up in the wildcard round and they drew Revo for a rematch. Revo was hit or miss through the prelims. They were 1-2 heading into their last prelim match, needing another win just to have a chance to move on to Sunday. They got that win against Aftermath, who couldn't put anything together all tournament, and lost every match they played after their amazing 3rd place run in Vegas. After taking 8th at the first event and not making it to Sunday at the World Cup, Revo needed a big win in this wild card round. You never know which games on Sunday will provide the fireworks, and this game would not disappoint.
I never like to count anybody out, especially not mentally, especially not those guys. So I think they're going to come out swinging hard. A bunch of gritty guys. They want to play some paintball.
It started out well for the Ironmen as they went up 2-0. Thomas Kim had a 3-pack in the first point, and Kyle Spica also clocked in to help the Ironmen take the early lead. Then Revo got on the board with an attack up the center by Stephen O'Mara and Eddie Painter. The Ironmen reasserted their lead in the next point, with the body count even after an early advantage. Thomas Kim again stepped up for his new team with an attack up the center. It came down to a 2-on-2, but Kyle Spica won a snapshot battle, and the Ironmen were up by 2 points. With under 6 minutes to play, Revo would not go quietly. Dan Zaleski fought his way into the snake, and he had a strong point. Got a shot on Thomas Kim. Trevor Reeser tried to fill out, but was taken out along with Alan Golding, and Revo pulled within 1. In the next point, O'Mara and Painter again attacked up the center, where most of the offense had been produced on this layout. Revo almost had a chance to steal the game during the last of regulation time when a penalty was assessed on Kyle Spica. Revo waited too long to push, and the game went into overtime. In overtime, Eddie Painter and Kyle Spica both pushed up the center for their teams, and it was a 5-on-5 break. Zaleski was the first to drop in a gunfight. Then Corey Hall took the walk, and it was 4-on-4. Painter then died in a gunfight to make it 3-on-4, and the Ironmen had the advantage. Then Thomas Kim got a kill, and the Ironmen had a 4-on-2 with 1 minute and 26 seconds left in overtime. Golding got shot trying to get across to launch his attack, and it was now 3-on-2. Josh Pike got a kill on Golding, and Derula crept up after Golding's death and came through to get 2 kills, stopping the Ironmen's push and forcing the 1-on-1s.
We had around 8 overtime matches in the prelims. We get another one here to start things out, the wild card match.
Thank you, Paintball Gods.
We go all the way through 5 minutes of overtime, and now we're going into 1-on-1s.
Revo sent out their best player, Stephen O'Mara, and 1 minute was put on the clock. The Ironmen sent out their MVP of the event, Alan Golding, who was playing the best paintball of his career. They both started out a bit tentative, but then Golding took over. He moved up the D side and played the aggressor, getting the drop on O'Mara, who headed towards the snake side. O'Mara lost Golding, and then was shot on the left foot. Golding was the hero of the game, and the Ironmen advanced into the quarterfinals to take on San Antonio X Factor.
Oh, and Golding gets the shot as the Ironman pit explodes. Alan Golding has had an outstanding 2019. I haven't seen Alan Golding make one mistake, period, this entire event.
Fresh off their wildcard round victory against Revo, the Ironmen were warmed up to play San Antonio X Factor in the quarterfinals. This quarterfinal game may have been their first match of the day, but X Factor again came into another Sunday, 22 in a row over the past 5 years, as a favorite, ready to take on the best teams in the world and try to put up another long-awaited win. If they could win, it would be their first major victory since the World Cup in 2013. X Factor was on cruise control in the prelims, beating PC Katana and Infamous by 2, the ML Kings by 4, and then Edmonton Impact in a heated 1-point match.
And X Factor looking pretty good here, and Archie Montemayor pumped up.
Whoa, and Mouse just headbutted Rainey. That's going to be
a major penalty. I cannot believe
100%.
Mouse.
Rainey ran straight up to him.
What are you doing?
Rainey,
There's a lot of chirping that goes back and forth, but Mouse kind of lost his composure there as he was head checked.
Let's see this replay. Let's see if they actually collide. Let's see if they collide. Oh, he really did.
Yeah,
wow.
He definitely headbutted him a bit, and then that's going to see a major penalty assessed on Alex Goldman, so they're going to lose one of their best players right now.
She's trying to make you break, you know, and that's, for whatever reason, he was able to get in Mouse's head.
Rainey's that type of player, like he knows Mouse, and he can get in Mouse's head, and he knows exactly how to push his button. Rainey's that type of character that knows how to push everybody's buttons. He's just that type of person, and he will if you piss him off.
I don't know how much they're friends anymore. I'm sure that the beef is probably squashed now. But in regards to the actual situation, I mean, that's what Rainey does. He's annoying. He's a pest. He knows how to get under your skin. And it's all part of the game for him. You know, he's a poker player, and he helped his team win.
Opinion, like, what, you're gonna fight Rainey? Like, come on, like, I love Rainey. Like, you're not gonna fight that guy, and if you were, it's like, come on.
I knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't know the level of what was gonna happen.
Is it on Mouse? Yeah, a little bit. Is it also on Rainey? Yeah, quite a bit too, you know, and he was there just chirping at it, and that's ultimately what Rainey was trying to do, get in his head, take him out of the game.
What makes me upset is that whether you're on Mouse's side or my side, it was like, you're either calling me bad names or you're calling him bad names. I'm like, man, you just see the dark side of stuff. I'm like, you could be against me. You could be against Mouse, but don't call him personal names and try to, insult him. Like that was the part where I was like, all right, I'm gonna let this go.
what Rainey did was smart, but he was playing with fire. So if Mouse contains himself just a hair more, I think he comes out and plays great the rest of that point.
But I mean, I play Xbox with those dudes all the time, so I knew it was, you know, just kind of a heat of the moment kind of thing, and that it'd be fine after that. But it was more just entertaining for me than anything.
Not today, Mo! Not today, 89! You guys started it, not me! You started it! Rainey, eat shit, you fuck! I'm good, eat shit. Thanks for the advice. You're a real piece of shit. That is not respect. That is not respect, I'm sorry. That is not respect for the game, for the players, for anything. What this stands for, that is not respect on any level.
I will tell you guys this. I am who I am as a person. We beat those guys. We haven't hung the buzzer on those guys out of respect. Agree or disagree when we could have, and mercied them. You hear me? We have shown them nothing but respect. That dude is a piece of shit. That's the reason he got cut off the fucking team. Let's go, boys.
Great fucking job, boys.
Good job, boys. Way to be team.
Hey, keep it up, man. Keep it up. All right, hey guys, we gotta go. Let's go, man. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Family. Archie went and shot him, and I thought about bonus balling him walking off, but I like calmed myself down and go, no, it'll be bad. It could be a penalty. So I ran over there and just kind of started chatting with him, and he broke. And at the end of the day, great player like him's off the field. I'll take that any day of the week. You know, at the end of the day, it's all on that. We all leave it at the field as long as no one's throwing blows, and you know, it makes the game exciting, right?
At the start of the game, the Ironmen were the first to lose a body when Kyle Spica died trying to get up the center. But both Colt Roberts and Archie Montemayor both got shot to give the Ironmen a one-body advantage. Thomas Kim then died to even it back up. Rennie Stanzik got a kill to open up the D side, and Billy Bernaccia went into the snake to finish up the point. In the next point, X Factor risked Bernaccia outside and he made it clean, but a penalty was pulled on Jesse Stevens. The Ironmen whittled down the remaining bodies and tied up the game. Then with the game tied, both teams sent bodies out wide snake side during a 5-on-5 break. Colt Roberts came off early as Thomas Kim pushed up the center for the Ironmen. Kim got a shot on Billy Bernaccia and it was looking good for the Los Angeles Ironmen. But Rennie Stanzik went on the counterattack and got a 2-pack, taking it down to a 2-on-2. Trevor Reeser got shot and Alan Golding couldn't save it. X Factor went up by 1. There was only 5:11 left and X Factor, with the lead, went with heavy guns off the break, but Spica and Reeser were able to push up the center for the LA Ironmen. Archie counterattacked after Spica's run-through, but Golding put a great shot on Montemayor, and with Reeser's help, cleaned up the point to tie the game again. Alan Golding was holding the line for the Ironmen. There was 2.5 minutes left for the final point, and it was a 5-on-5 break with Spica for the Ironmen and Stanzik for X Factor pushing up the center. But Colt Roberts got into good position on the D side and started to do damage. Montemayor ran down Spica to finish the game and pushed San Antonio X Factor into the semifinals.
And Archie Montemayor and San Antonio X Factor putting their third point on the board. And yes, we still have a tiny bit of time left.
Colt Roberts doing the barrel drag.
Sacramento DMG spent the past season mostly frustrated with their rookie performance, but they did punch their ticket into Sunday at the World Cup, taking 9th. In Vegas, they were again shaking their heads, going 1-3 in the prelims with 3 blowout losses and taking 17th place. But they turned things around in Texas. Although all their games were 1-point matches, they defeated Aftermath, Revo, and the Ironmen, going 3-1 with a loss to New York Extreme. They would now have to get a win against the defending world champions in order to make it into the semifinals for the first time. Houston Heat was already warmed up after their easy win against Los Angeles Infamous. The first point started out rough for Heat as they lost Nico Hyde from the D side, and Chad George slipped trying to get to his primary position, though he made it clean. But DMG couldn't capitalize. They lost a body and received a penalty, and they went down by 1. The second point was a close fight. Both teams lost a body early, and then Shane Howe played the aggressor to bunker Ryan Moorhead. Both teams locked into gunfights 3-on-3 and burnt time off the clock, though Joe Barrett from DMG pushed up the center, putting the pressure on Heat and looking to close. Chad George lost his gunfight, and DMG's Vityakov got into the snake. It was a long tactical battle. Heat's defense couldn't hold, and the game was tied. There was 5:40 left, and Heat broke out slightly more aggressive than DMG, getting Fedorov wide snake side and getting a kill in the center. Moorhead then quickly moved to the 50-yard line brick, but Nico Hyde got shot trying to push into D2 to even the count at the 4:30 mark. Shane Howe was the next to die, allowing Fedorov to move to the D side with a coast-to-coast run. Heat finished the high body situation to take the lead. In the last point, it came down to a 4-on-4. Heat still up by 1 with just under 2 minutes to go.
Playing DMG, it was a little bit closer than we had liked. You know, they're going to run on you, and if you're not having those shots dialed in, they can get those guys far on the break, and it's going to slow your attack down a little bit. Playing smarter, I think what we tried to do is, as soon as they made those moves, those far bunkers in the break, we tried to counter those too quickly and got, you know, a little zoned up on that, and I think we just got chopped up trying to match them too fast and not playing our game, and it could have been a close one there. We could have actually lost that game.
DMG was pushing into the defensive line of heat when Chad George received a minor penalty, and it looked like the game would head to overtime. But Sam Monville was the last player alive, and he took it to a one-on-one. He held the line, put up multiple kills, and pushed his team into the semifinals. AC Dallas came to Texas with a growing chip on their shoulder. They've known that they're one of the top teams, but top teams win tournaments, and they had yet to win a tournament. They had zero problems in the prelims for the first 3 games, beating up on damage, uprising, and elevation. But then they lost by one of the Russians, and they matched up in the quarterfinals on Sunday against San Diego Dynasty. Dynasty also murdered their way through the prelims, winning all 4 of their games, with mercy rule shutouts of Boom and the Outlaws, a 3-point victory against Houston Heat, and a 1-point win against Seattle Thunder. Dynasty used to be the definition of dominance, but the time between their wins has been growing, and they wanted to get back to their winning ways. Though Dynasty went undefeated in the prelims, they did not get off to a great start against AC Dallas in the quarterfinals.
You know, I'd always really liked the AC Dallas franchise. I think that the players, you know, it's a younger crew. I love the fact that they came up from, you know, a lower division side of things, and they had built a really good and what appears to be a very solid crew of guys that are playing. Lately, especially after the ICC, I have lost a tremendous amount of respect for their organization in general, and I'm not as big a fan of AC Dallas as I used to be because of the way that they acted and represented with paintball. But I believe that maybe there's just something inside of them that because they haven't won, they're just so angry with paintball. But they don't seem to be having fun, maybe, or they're just not enjoying. It doesn't seem like they're very, very good ambassadors of the sport, if you could say. I guess.
They started out the quarterfinal match with a penalty on Tyler Harmon. It came down to a 3-on-3 after Matt Jackson and Brad McCurley came off early. But Alex Rodriguez took the walk, and Greenspan was shot on a tactical retreat, and AC went up by 1. They put another point on the board with some nice off-the-break shots on Harmon, and then Greenspan on his first move. After some time was burned off the clock, Dynasty lost another body, and they were forced to concede. AC was in full control of the third point as well. They got their new snake player, BJ Henningberg, up the field after going up on bodies 5-on-3. He bunkered out Arturo to help finish off the point. After yet another point for AC, it was looking dire for Dynasty.
Yeah, AC Dallas has been one of our kryptonites this year, and for me, I think it's all about confidence. You know, I think they show up to play us and they feel like they can beat us every single time, and it shows on the field. And I think sometimes we fall into, especially against certain teams, trying to play too disciplined. And AC Dallas has a little more confidence in kind of shaking and baking against us, which is funny because that's not, you know, what they're known for. Even though they have players that can do that, they're known for their discipline. But I feel like, you know, in Texas, they definitely just took the game from us.
AC Dallas just played to a different type of game. And so by the time that we had adjusted to that game plan and we had adjusted to what they were doing, we were able to come back, but just not enough. And when we did come back, we were so close. I think that that's kind of been our season, and that's kind of how a lot of times it happens, where we get knocked down a little bit, and then we just, by the time we gain traction, we just don't have enough time.
And honestly, that match was actually really funny if you ever go back and watch it. We started early one point, like the whole team started early. That was actually the first point that Dynasty won in their little comeback. So all of us were just like, oh, you know, no big deal, it happened.
Dynasty still pushed forward and brought the margin to 1 point. They had a chance to tie with just under 2 minutes to go. It was a 5-on-5 break, but Dynasty then lost Tyler Harmon. Alex Rodriguez pushed up the center and diced up 2 bodies while staying alive to give Dynasty a chance. Marcelo Margot and Arturo Andrade pushed the snake, but the defense of Matt Jackson and TJ Danner held up to secure the victory and send Dynasty home with a 5th-place finish.
I think Dynasty's going to get eliminated with the death of Arturo Andrade. He was their last hope. And what a great job. Matt Jackson screaming to the sky, triumphant here with the victory.
Good job, AC Dallas. Well-deserved victory. Dynasty put a good fight up there at the end. It was too little, too late.
Hats off to TJ Danner, too. So TJ Danner and Matt Jackson held off the snake attack. It was a 3-on-2 situation. Low bodies. Low bodies, man. Matt Jackson, I'm going to give him a little clap. Good job, TJ, too.
And Matt Jackson every time comes and he roars in your face, and, you know, our guys need to be fired up to play those guys. We need to go out there and, you know, forget everything else and go out wanting to take the game from them because they play us with that fire.
It's so complicated. Like when you're scouting a team and you're like, here's what they do, and then they don't do that shit.
It's almost like a game of rock, scissors, paper. Like, I know you're gonna throw a rock. We always throw a rock, Maddie. But then you hit me with a scissor, and I'm throwing paper. And we were right there. We actually had that point one, in my opinion. It was just Matt had just a fantastic 3-shot quick kill and got us all. And we were right there. We had that point one, and that would have, I believe, tied it up, so we would have gone into overtime. But when you have that momentum moving forward, it's usually a good thing, and it was just so close.
Edmonton Impact, though they took the first event in definitive fashion, looked mortal in the prelims at the Texas Motor Speedway for the second event. After laying waste infamous 5-1, they stumbled against the ML Kings and barely pulled off the win, 5-4. They roared back against PC Katana with a Mercy Rule victory, but then dropped a controversial match against San Antonio X Factor. The controversy surrounded an incident when Rainey Stanzik got under the skin of his former teammate Alex Goldman. Goldman gave Stanzik a slight headbutt and he was ejected from the game. He was also suspended from the quarterfinal match against longtime rivals, Moscow Russian Legion.
What I think, yeah, this is like same story like when you go to new people area, yeah, when you come, and if you see somebody strong, first what you do, you hate this guy, yeah. But after when you hate, yeah, you lose sometimes win. But after I think you go together and like friend. I think this happening. Not always, but most of the time. Before start this game, I forget my shoes, and one my friend teammate give me shoes, but these shoes so tight. This is like, you know, like when you like this, and I think and we start play same. If you watch this game, we play same, like all people go sit down in bunker and like this, or all our people sit down like this and try to play.
The history between these two teams is deep, with Impact having two amazing come-from-behind victories against the Russians last season. Impact took control of this match early. The Russians were getting picked apart in their primary spots, and Impact was breaking out aggressively. Sergei Sonaisko was the last player alive in the first point, and he tried to run through in the second point, but the Russians went down 0-2. The Russians were able to put a point on the board when Karslev ran down the D side, but then they lost another one as Smotrov died early and Karslev pushed into D3, but Impact was in control and they went up 3-1. Penalties and early deaths haunted the Russians as Impact was able to run up the score. It was 6-2 with a little more than 4 minutes left to go, and it looked like Impact had all the answers for the Russian riddle.
I remember this moment when we go in pit zone. Malloy said, guys, relax. We have a half minute to 1 point. Okay.
After start, my teammates, he don't play in the bench. He sit on the bench, and I give him my room key at hotel and my car key, and I say, please, I need my shoes because I can't play like this. This is like, you know, this is maybe same like when you so tight put your strap sandana or something. You can brain because your brain so stuck, you know. And he bring me my shoes, and after this is like, whew. This is same feeling I think when you go to sauna or jacuzzi, you know, go after a cold day, you go and you relax. Okay, 2 minutes and 6-3. This is like for sure like 45 seconds for point, and that's why you don't have time for okay, maybe scream a lot of information, you know, like, or okay, maybe I choose what pod I get now. Yeah, you just need to make your work.
This is our style. It's our style like a team. It's when team growing 24 years ago. I think this style inside already.
Smotrov received a penalty, but Kirill Peridny and Pavel Karslev took the point, when Karslev won a one-on-one against Nick Laval. Karslev had been keeping the Russians in this match. But then it was up to Alexander Burtnikov in the next point as he clocked in with a three-pack. Alex Goldman watched in horror as his team lost quick point after quick point. The Russians needed a miracle, and it was a miracle that they received.
Malloy knew that usually it takes like around 10 seconds to run from one side to another. Guys had enough time to focus on their simple jobs in this really important way of playing, and the mixture of those facts managed to give us a success. So
the Russians are like, oh no, we're just going.
Here we go, long-awaited last point, and here come the Russians
Flying
as
V.
they go on a full send with the flying V as Smotrov is the
And
one.
he gets it, he
behind
gets it, he
does
gets it,
get it in
he
time.
gets it.
Unbelievable, the Russians able to dive in and hit that buzzer. A triumphant
That was amazing.
Alexander Burtnikov. Alexander Burtnikov able to sneak through there on the staggered attack, and he's getting checked out by the referee. Is he clean? That's the big question right now, boys.
He's clean.
Dave
It's
Baines
the rest
is
of the
flipping
guys.
out.
Thumbs up,
Wow.
Dave Baines and the rest of Impact losing his mind.
It had been over 10 years since the sport had seen a 9-second point. The Russians did the unthinkable, saved their tournament, knocked out Impact, and moved into the semifinals to face San Antonio X Factor.
It's so passionate moment because all team stay together like a same wall, you know, hand to hand, like this. Because we don't thinking about win, we just thinking about need to push the button. Need to push the button. We have a time, okay, we need to push the button. And after this strategy, running, gunning, and well, doesn't matter what, I need to push the button.
To be completely honest and quite frank, it was a shitty game plan. It was a game plan where we put it on the thing and I said no. I said this is not a good idea. And we ran it anyways and we lost. Now, would have something different have been better? I don't know, hindsight's 20/20. Anyone could have looked back and like, this would have been perfect, right? These guys in this situation would have been perfect. But the moves that we made and the guns that we had, I disagreed with. And I still believe that it was just a wrong game plan, but that happens.
it feels absolutely incredible because I was looking at the clocks and I actually took the defeat from Impact already by that time. Because I knew that I did everything what was in my powers. I was clear to myself. And I was looking at the clocks and thinking, okay, now it's faith. If we're gonna lose, okay, we lost, but I personally did everything what I could. So let it be. And when that happened, we all knew, like in a pit zone, that the overtime will be ours, like for no chances.
Not having Mouse is a key component. You know, we had Tim, and he actually played great. He played great for us for what we had. Maybe it just wasn't enough. You know, in the moment, in my opinion, I just don't think he was prepared for a game of that caliber yet.
I have a lot of teachers in the team. Kirill, Denis, Sergey, coaches team. And Malloy for me is so important teacher. And I like this guy. They really good guy. And so laughing and so funny for us. But for Malloy, it's normal situation. If Malloy MVP, this normal situation, we go straight.
In the semifinals, San Antonio X Factor got off to a rough start against Moscow Russian Legion with a penalty on Rainy Stanzik. And though Archie Montemayor shot a few bodies, Kirill Peridny ran through to finish the point, and the Russians had the early lead. In the second point, after both teams lost a body early, Colt Roberts was able to get into D3 and he got a shot inside on Leo Smotrov. Archie Montemayor went to work in the center, trapping the Russians in the backfield, and X Factor tied it up. When 10-16 left, X Factor risked Billy Bernaccia into the snake off the break. He made it clean, but they lost Colt Roberts on the other side of the field. Montemayor tried to get up the field to help out Billy, but he was shot on the move. As soon as Mitroninos tried to get out wide, Denis Golev picked him up, forcing the concession from X Factor's coach, Ryan Brand. The Russians were up by 1. A little friendly fire started off the next point. Smotrov shot Golev to give X Factor a free kill. Kirill then lost a gunfight and it looked like it would be an easy point for X Factor. But Smotrov came from the center to get into the snake, getting kills and pushing forward until Rainey Stanzik picked him up and gave the crucial cross-field communication to Archie Montemayor, who put a stop to Smotrov's attack. Ninos got the last kill on Alexander Bertnikov, and Rainey Stanzik hit the buzzer to tie the game. But the Russians destroyed X Factor off the break in the next 2 points to take the lead. Now down by 2 with 5 minutes and 19 seconds left, San Antonio X Factor tried to go on the offensive, but they lost both Rainey Stanzik and Villa Bernaccia, and again they got slaughtered on the break, forcing another quick concession. The Russians' mid-game off-the-break shots made the difference, and X Factor could never recover. They put another point on the board, but the Russians took a convincing 7-3 win, and they moved into the final match.
They were on fire, and they, I don't know what happened in the first half of that game where they're getting crushed, but once they turned it on, it never turned off for them the rest of that afternoon. And I mean, we were playing well. I mean, we probably should have been in the finals with them. I think we would have been had we not played them before the final, essentially. I mean, it was breakout, what just happened, And I was turning around and we have 3 guys walking off, like, fuck, man.
Think about win is last decision. It's last decision. But before, you need a step by step against Impact, X Factor, AC Dallas, and understand.
Since going pro in 2015, AC Dallas hasn't had much luck against Houston Heat. They faced each other 5 times on Sunday, and every one of those games ended with AC Dallas packing their bags and heading home, including the last event in Las Vegas. But this semifinal match started out well for AC as they took complete control in the first point, shooting out Moorhead and Monville early, taking the lead. Nico Hyde died trying to get out wide on the D side in the second point, and then Fedorov took the walk as well after shooting inside, losing his first engagement down the sideline on the snake side. AC played smart, making sure not to make any mistakes to throw away their advantage. They won 2 more gunfights and went up 2-0. Heat again struggled at the beginning of the next point when they lost Ryan Moorhead trying to take ground in the center. Fedorov pushed into the center 50-yard line red brick. Brad McCurley tried to come bunker out Fedorov, but Fedorov made a move right before and stayed alive. The body count was even. TJ Danner got shot right after that to give Heat their first advantage of the game. Fedorov took out BJ Henningberg, but then Matt Jackson ran him down and almost turned the point. But Nico Hyde and Chad George had other ideas, and they put up the first point for Houston Heat. Then AC Dallas sent BJ Henningberg up the center and he got a shot on Fedorov to go up a body early in the next point. But Ryan Moorhead clocked in with a 2-pack up the center. Chad George got into the snake. AC Dallas couldn't recover and the game was tied. Houston Heat shot 3 bodies on the break in the next point to give them the lead. Then Nico Hyde was shot off the break and AC Dallas pushed the center with Henningberg and McCurley. Down a body but up a point, Heat tried to lock into gunfights to burn time off the clock, hoping to catch AC making a mistake pushing forward. But both Monville and Moorhead got shot, and Heat conceded to tie up the game again. Both teams lost their snake players in the next point, as Henningberg and George died off the break. Fedorov got up past the 50-yard line in the center and was putting the pressure on AC Dallas. Nico Hyde then walked off to give AC a 1-body advantage. McCurley was the difference maker when he ran down Fedorov, and AC Dallas went up by 1 point. Down by 1 with less than 2 minutes to go, Houston Heat needed a good break. Both teams started the point with conservative game plans, but then Heat Sam Monville pushed up to the 50 break and looked inside. AC lost another body, and Heat had a minute to close out the 5-on-3, but they couldn't get it done, with the Jackson brothers holding strong for AC Dallas, helping get their team to another finals appearance.
Jackson brothers embrace in the center field, and they have just had a spectacular performance, just putting up tons of kills.
AC Dallas' strategy, as of late, has been a little bit faster. I think they're learning to find that other gear. They've been a slow team for so long, and I think you can only win so many matches. You can only do so good being a slow team. You need to have a second gear, and you need to be able to, go into the 50s and bang with other, professional teams to actually get a win. And I think that's one of the things they've been doing a little better lately is actually adapting and getting in that second gear where they're going. They're not just trying to play a field slow and have the team play down to them. They're actually, they'll play a slow point, set up the run, and then they'll go for a big run. They'll actually take that initiative to go, and I think that's why they're doing a little better now.
So it was a really close match, and the big thing was they are a great team. They're very good at playing slow, and I think that layout played a lot slower than a lot of the layouts this year.
We really owed them from Vegas. We felt we should have won that event in Vegas. So beating them in the semifinals in Dallas was definitely a confidence builder going into the Russian game.
So he'd had our number for a long time. I think they were in a streak of beating us like 3 matches, three times in a row consecutively throughout the year. So us beating them was a really big thing for us because they had been beating us consistently ultimately.
The Russians had just won over in Europe. They had won 2 events in the States in the past 2 years. Could this finals be the start of another historic run, or would AC Dallas finally fulfill their potential and take their very first pro victory in the great state of Texas in front of their home crowd?
A lot of people don't know this. We practiced Russians the week before, and if you ask them too, we beat them probably like, I don't know, it was probably, we played 60 points, we won 40 of the points. It was ridiculous how we were beating them at practice so good. So we literally went into the finals like, man, this is gonna be tough.
We have a traditional when we bet the practice, really bad. Every time doing wrong, shoot another side, get shot, something like that. Tournament is better. If we do practice like and for example 10 points in a row we win, tournament so difficult and hard start for sure. Doesn't matter against who. Young team, old team, legendary, not legendary. Every time when we go to the final, we go in Subway and eat salad or something lighter, something like that. This for us like a little plan, like tradition. Yeah. And we forget about paintball, about tournament. We just eat and discuss something, laughing and spend time together like a funny. Have a little bit pressure because this final, but we remember how we play against Impact, against X Factor, and we practice with AC Dallas before tournament. And we remember this moment too, because what we do wrong, what he do good, what shoot and where move, and something like that.
What I don't like, they play like all breakout, they make same. I think for them, don't help this. They play like just standard, you know. If I'm watch paintball outside and just watch paintball, I say, okay, yeah, they go final, but they don't show something, you know, like special.
We are here at the most important game of this tournament, the 2019 NXL Texas Open. The finals are about to go down.
The Russians are a machine. They dismantled the U.S. All-Star team over in Spain of Spica, Archie, Greenspan, Blake, just tore them apart 5-0 in the finals. They did things in that match that they hadn't done the entire event. We watched them out here. They came in there just blowing teams apart. They're relentless. The attack comes from everywhere.
But AC Dallas, they had to get through Dynasty. That was a 1-point match. Then they played a 1-point match against Houston Heat. AC Dallas, this may be their tournament to win.
Technical, fundamental, but also sometimes vanilla. They do everything so textbook, but they get the job done. They're a hard team to fight because they don't make mistakes. But what they're going to need to win this game is going to be some passion, some energy. They're going to have to come out here and get big games from their top 5 players, BJ, TJ, Brad, and the Jackson brothers. They're going to need everybody to step up and have the games of their lives right now to win this tournament.
The final game started out well for AC Dallas. They kept bodies in the backfield to get more guns up off the break, and it paid off. They went up on bodies after they got a shot on Kirill Peridny. It was a 5-on-4 situation, but the Russians got Karslev up to the 50-yard line, blue brick, off the break. Karslev then made a couple tactical retreats to try to set a trap. BJ Henningsberg was shot out of his spot to even up the count. Then Karslev launched his attack on the D side, but he was clipped by TJ Danner to give AC another high-body situation, 4-on-3. As Karslev was pushing the D side and drawing guns, Smotrov worked into the 50 snake where he could do damage. But Brad McCurley countered Smotrov, making a couple smart moves across to get the kill. He then turned his gun towards the D side to shoot Golev, forcing the concession from the Russians. AC was up by 1 with 10 minutes and 50 seconds still left on the clock.
One body left alive. The Russians concede, and AC Dallas, as the crowd explodes, going to take the lead here. Our score 1-0.
Bend don't break for AC Dallas, Matty. They got to get out there, get to their spots, play with confidence, and continue to fight the way that they've been fighting this whole tournament.
AC again went with heavy guns up, but both teams risked a body out wide to the snake side back bunker. It was 5 alive for both squads. The Russians were the first to push forward, trapping AC in the back spots. Heningberg lost a gunfight again to give the Russians their first advantage of the finals. Kirill got the shot on Brad in the middle, which then allowed Malloy to get into the snake. Matt Jackson knew they were down and he had to do something about the threats in the center. But then he got clipped on the counterattack, and the Russians easily cleared the field, obliterating John Jackson to tie the game.
Here goes John Jackson just getting demolished. Everybody got some shots on John Jackson.
Well, when you make a desperation move and pause in the middle of the field, that's going to happen.
He pumped the brakes.
The start of the next point was a bloodbath as both teams lost bodies on the break. Though the Russians lost one, they were able to shoot out both John Jackson and BJ Heningberg, both of the bodies on the snake side for AC Dallas. But Curley and Danner were quickly taken out, and the Russians were able to take the lead 2-1. The Russians broke out for the fourth point aggressively all over the field, and AC Dallas switched up BJ's position, risking him up the center this time to the 50 red brick, but keeping the rest of their bodies in the backfield shooting lanes. Both teams kept everyone alive, and it was 5-on-5. Golev had no idea that BJ had made it up that far. He ran to his death trying to take ground in the center. Smotrov came through to bunker out BJ, sacrificing his body for the kill. AC was up a body, but not for long, as Kirill Peridny made a move to get a shot to even up the count. But then TJ Danner got a shot on Karslev, trying to move forward, but Kirill picked him up. The veteran Kirill Peridny, playing on an injured ankle, saved the point for the Russians with a 3-pack of kills. There was now 5 minutes and 48 seconds left to go in the match, and the Russians were up by 2. AC Dallas needed to answer back right now. AC came out with their most aggressive break in the match so far, sending Brad McCurley up to the 50-yard line blue brick and BJ into the snake. They both made it clean. Smotrov also made it into the red 50 brick and locked into a gunfight with McCurley. A minor penalty was thrown on McCurley, pulling out Danner, and AC just couldn't recover. The Russians went up by 3 with 3 minutes and 54 seconds left, and they never looked back. AC fought hard, as they always do, running into guns, trying desperately to make something happen. And they took another frustrating second place. The Russians had swept the field, going undefeated the whole tournament, with a historic comeback against Impact and solid victories over X Factor and AC Dallas on Sunday. After their come-from-behind magic against Impact, many were talking and thinking that the Russians were destined to win this event here in Texas. And if they kept up this level of execution, maybe they were destined to go on a run and win the next event, maybe win the series too. But we'd have to wait until NXL Philadelphia to find out.
I feel like sometimes the teams that win events, you can ask them, hey, did things just happen to fall your way? And I think in paintball, it happens. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so tough to win, because you kind of have to have a little luck, but obviously you're good. All the teams in the top 6 at events are very good teams. But who has the luck on that Sunday? Who gets the bounce? Who gets the lucky bounce off the lens, right? And then you go and shoot 3 guys, right? All those little things. But in the match against the Russians, we were not worried at all because we had played them so many times. And there's always the idea, right? Or they just beat us, so they have to beat us again at the same tournament. Most of the time, I feel like historically, the team that gets to play them second generally wins. Kirill's basically, looking to rid away, literally does a little wrap shot, and I head checked over top of a bunker, and he shot me straight in the face. And I asked him after the match, and I was like, hey, did you know I was there? He goes, no, they said, our call for you being in the center, but I just kind of put a ball somewhere. And I said, well, I caught it.
They're way too predictable. They are not aggressive enough. And they're not deep enough either. They're exhausted, and it's very evident. They're too comfortable. They're too comfortable in their position, and don't get me wrong, they're really great, and they're really great at what they do. But if you want to win in this league, you're going to have to be really great at everything, not just what you do.
We all talked about it, and all of us, after the match, were like, hey, how tired is everyone? And everyone's like, dude, I'm exhausted, right? Like playing all those matches in the mud, trying to run, literally trudging through it just to get on the field, and some other teams having more people. Russians are very similar to us, right? They only have a few people, but they're working out 4 days a week, doing cardio and all that kind of stuff. We all got jobs and lives and whatnot.
I have to hand this out to Smotrov, our tough gun.
I don't know, I try to feel comfy, like it's not, don't want to feel like I'm a superstar or try to do some shit like this, because I saw a lot of superstars in paintball, like Archie or Fedorov. Yeah, they're superstars. I'm not. No, I don't like this.
For me, if I don't feel like he's stolen and I say, oh, what the fuck are you doing? You stole my barrel. No, just okay, take your turn. Maybe I go next time.
Leo is like talking about every talented youngster. First of all, you never know how it all works. And second, if you talk to him, if you work with him, if you give him the correct direction, you have a high chances that in the end it's going to be plus than minus. Most likely going to be plus than minus. And the main trouble for him and main risk for us right now, for him not to lose a focus, because he can be focused on having kills for himself, but the real focus is to be positive for the team.
To lose 6-1 and make it, again, second place for us, it just means that we're on the right track. None of us look at it as a negative thing, like, yeah, it sucks to lose. But none of us go, oh, well, that sucks, we almost had them. We're like, oh, that sucks, okay, cool, we're on the right track. Let's get more consistent. Our goal is to be more consistent, top 4 more. It told us that we're on the right track, let's keep hustling. We feel that 2019, we've got the best roster we've ever had, so let's keep on going forward.
Next time on 5 Sundays, the battle between the best paintball teams in the world heads to Philadelphia, with a new team sitting at the top of the game. After 2 events, 4 different squads have been in the finals. Can the Russians hold on to the #1 spot after their big win over AC Dallas? Tune in to episode 3 to find out, only on GoSports.com.